Maharaj. When Dhruva Maharaj left the planet, what did he do? He simply stepped over the head of death and got onto the airplane that was boarded and was heading back to the spiritual world. So for him, there was no death. For a pure devotee, there's no death. It's just a transformation from one place to another. But unless we have this transcendental knowledge, then the condition consciousness of the living being helps us to, makes us see things in a limited way or in an incomplete way. And therefore we think, there's inauspiciousness. With devotional service, there's never any inauspiciousness. Because Krishna is arranging for the devotees, sojourn back to the spiritual world. So this knowledge fixes our minds and hearts in the proper understanding, and the complete understanding, the correct understanding. Knowledge is greater than power, and there's no power in the world that can destroy transcendental knowledge. Not any armies, not any soldiers, not anything, no one. Transcendental knowledge is the most powerful thing. When you're fixed in knowledge, you're free. Even death cannot destroy that. So, therefore, we want to give this knowledge to everyone. Because it says that, it's like in the Christian scriptures they say, the first commandment is to love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. And the second commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. And so how people interpret the second commandment is always different ways, but the correct understanding is, what is dear to you, give that to others. What is dear to you, give that to others. That means that's love. When something is very dear to you and it's valuable and it's helping you, then you want to show love for others and make that person a recipient of the same thing that is helping you. And in this case, Krishna consciousness or transcendental lotus. Okay. Sri Bhangananda Prabhu is here. I talk too long. Okay. So, should I ask for questions or should we? Yeah. Any questions? Anyone? Question? Yeah.
You mentioned that with these books, the Prabhupada mentioned that like the seed has been planted.
Yes.
And so there's hope. But then I hear also people saying that it's better.
I don't think there's any contradiction. These books are the way out. But in order for people to get out, you have to plant the seed of bhakti, the seed of devotion. And that's where the books come in. These books are going to give you. They also say part of the book is like a travel brochure. It teaches you where you could go. It shows you where you could go. So yes, these books are the means to it, to get out. But in order to get out, there's a process. So we're planting the seed. We're not planting the seed of material happiness. We're planting the seed of devotion in the hearts. We can do that planting in different ways, but these books really, when people have a philosophical understanding, or at least begin to understand things philosophically, then they'll start to practice that philosophy. And when they start practicing, then they get the taste. Then they desire to go out, to get out. Once we get a taste. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes, Tripandananda Prabhu.
Maharaj, you've very beautifully described so many aspects of Srila Prabhupada's extraordinary life-saving books. And I thank you very much for
Hare
it.
Krishna.
It's very enlivening to hear such a nice realization from your good self. And I have one little question, which is that you've mentioned about planting a seed, but of course it doesn't end there. It's just the beginning point. So how can this seed sprout, be nurtured and develop and grow so that it becomes more than just a seed planted, and it becomes something very vibrant and flourishing in the devotee's lives?
The seed is planted, then there should be an opportunity to water it. So in distributing books, I think your question is a practical question. Where do they go from there? So I think in two things. In the books we can also put, like invitations to the temple, or opportunities where people can follow up, like contact the temple or meet a devotee or do something. Should be some process where follow-up becomes easy. And this is interesting, because in the early days, we just used to distribute books, and we were interested in mostly getting books out, and not so much in planting seeds. So a lot of times, the books were going out, but we were losing contact, but people didn't have a chance to recontact. So you can encourage people by putting. Do you do that? You put like invitations in the books, like that. And if the book distributors are meeting people out there, they could also say, we also have a temple here, and give them the address. Please come and join us. We have nice Sunday programs, everyday programs. We can get a free lunch, some nice food, vegetarian. So follow-up can be done in different ways, but there should be easy opportunity for people to follow. Practical. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. You mentioned that, well, I've heard before that Chaitanya distributed this love of Godhead freely to anybody.
Not only freely, he made it so easy. To approach Krishna is not so easy, but he's made it easy.
Sure. So, with the example of the king, why did he wait for the king to give up his kingdom before?
He didn't give up his kingdom, he gave up his prestige as king, and he gave up his garments as a king. Because Lord Chaitanya was two things. I think there's many things. The two I can think of is, one is Lord Chaitanya was in the sannyas order of life, and he was teaching that sannyasis shouldn't mix with worldly people. He said that. He said, oh yes, although he is a great devotee, still the word king has polluted everything. It's Lord Chaitanya. He was practicing the sannyas ashram very, very strictly, extremely strictly, just to teach the principles that by mixing with worldly-minded people, you can also become affected by that, especially those who have big positions. Prabhupada wanted us to meet big people, but he didn't want us to patronize them. He wanted them just to give them Krishna consciousness, not simply to cater to their false ego. So Lord Chaitanya, and he was purifying further King Prajaparuja, just to show his glories. And he was willing to do whatever it took to get the association of Lord Chaitanya. And another time, it was amazing, because when Lord Chaitanya was doing kirtan in the Ratha Yatra, the Lord divided his devotees into 7 groups. And there was a kirtan leader and a kirtan dancer in each group. And there were many devotees chanting, and there were 7 groups around Lord Jagannath's cart. Lord Chaitanya did something mystical, and that he appeared in all 7 groups at the same time. So each group was thinking that Lord Chaitanya is in my group. So everyone was becoming ecstatic, and only 2 people could see that Lord Chaitanya was in all 7 groups. And that was Lord Nityananda and King Prataparudra. The Lord gave him that vision to see it. And that was his first stage of his mercy. And Lord Nityananda said, was it Lord Nityananda or was it Ramananda Roy? Somebody said to King Prataparudra, you are so fortunate. Lord, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, that's right. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, you are so fortunate. The Lord has given you special mercy to be able to see that. And so the Lord was really favoring him, but in his own way he was favoring him. Because the Lord knew he was a great devotee, but still he remained a distance. Yes, question.
Maharaj, which one of Srila Prabhupada's books did you first read?
Yeah, I can tell you that one. The one I remember, let's see.